All right, buckle up. This one is wild. A packed courtroom. Every seat filled. The air is thick, and every person in that courtroom is waiting for one thing. Zachary David Hughes to take the stand. He raises his right hand, swears to tell the truth, and then he admits it.
I killed her.
Not an accident, not self-defense, he confesses. But then comes the twist. Hughes doesn't beg for mercy. He doesn't say he lost control. He looks straight ahead and he tells the jury why. Because in his mind, this wasn't murder. It was justice. See, he believed and testified under oath that this woman, the mother of a little girl who the mother was harming in horrific ways, sex trafficking, all this terrible stuff, that he had proof of this, that he saw things no one should ever see. And the judge, by the way, wouldn't allow any of this information in the court. And yet, this case is even stranger. It's being called the Rose Petal murder. Why? Because after the killing, Hughes allegedly scattered rose petals around the crime scene. People are asking, okay,
Was it remorse? Is it some type of a ritual? Is it a twisted symbol of justice?
I mean, that's one of the big questions. Now, whether you believe him or not, here's what's undeniable. His body language is congruent. Everything, the size, the posture, the tone, his automatic nervous system responses, they all line up. I believe Zachary Hughes believes he did the right thing. Now, I know some of you might be thinking,
I'm not really into crime shows, Janine. Why are you talking about a crime show?
stick around, because this isn't just about a murder trial. It's about knowing when someone is telling the truth. It is about catching hidden signs of deception. It's about making sure you never get played again. This episode of In the Driver's Seat with me, Janine Driver, it's about you and the things you don't even realize you're missing. I'm Janine Driver, and the reason this is so exciting for me, I'm former investigator with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, and today I'm putting you in the driver's seat. Let's break it down. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my podcast today, In the Driver's Seat with me, Janine Driver. I am so happy you're here.
Are you ready for one of the coolest podcasts on the web? Janine Driver, she's an expert on body language, persuasion, emotional intelligence, decision-making hack, 9-minute brain hacks for a happier life and stronger relationships. This is In the Driver's Seat with Janine Driver.
Hey, welcome back. All right, here's the deal. Hughes admits he killed the mother of this little girl. That's not in question. He confesses to it. The real question is why, right? Did he really think she was being sex trafficked and sexually abused? Was this a rescue mission, as he claims? Or was this some type of a delusional man acting on something that wasn't real? And that's where I come in. Court TV had me on with Vinnie Politan weighing in on this case, because in high-stakes cases like this, the truth isn't just in the words, it's in the body. Let's start with the first big clue I talked about in Court TV, his sighs. He does this sigh over and over and over again throughout his testimony, and an inhale, which is a full system reset. Think about it. Have you ever had a moment where you're so overwhelmed that your body forces you to take a deep breath? That's what's happening here. Hughes doesn't just sigh. He does a sigh inhale. This deep, controlled breath acts like a Control-Alt-Delete for our brain. So why do we do it? Your body actually forces you to sigh about 12 times per hour, even when you're relaxed. By the way, now that I pointed that out, you'll start to notice how often you sigh. It's your lungs' way of keeping themselves flexible, preventing tiny air sacs from collapsing. We get twice as much oxygen when we do this. But when emotions run high, those sighs turn into emotional processing. It's this tool that's used to help you reset and push through stress. Here's what makes this very interesting. It's all about timing. See, Hughes sighs before answering some key questions, especially about the abuse he says he witnessed. He also does these slow, deep sighs. We'll talk about those. These are tells. His body language is gearing up to relive something heavy. It's processing something major. And that's a major indicator of emotional truth. Now, let's stack this up with something even more telling, his breathing patterns. He does the sniffle, stress, leak out thing. Do you ever see someone take a sniff through their nose when they're not sick and they're not crying, but definitely something's happening with their nose? Donald Trump did this the first time he was running for president. That's not random. Hughes does this in court. It's what I call the no sniffle. It's a quick, sharp inhale through the nose, controlled by the autonomic nervous system.
Then I'm consigning Aida to her fate when I know that I could have done.
Why do we do this? This is an emergency stress response. It's a micro moment where your body pulls in extra air, bracing for an emotional hit. It's part of our fight or flight system. And it happens when we're under pressure, but we're trying our best to keep it together. And guess when Hughes does it? Yeah, right before he talks about what he saw. That's a physical sign of deep emotion. It's this tension, like his body is bracing for impact even before the words leave his mouth. Now, let's move up to his face, the furrowed brows. When our brows are furrowed like that, it's like a live broadcast from his brain. Your eyebrows? Yeah. They're emotional billboards. It's right in front of what? Our brain. You don't control them. They react to the limbic system, the part of our brain that processes things like fear, stress, and gut feelings. Hughes' brows knit together repeatedly when he is talking about the abuse he says that he witnessed. I believe him. Why do we do this? A furrowed brow is a distress signal. It happens when something just isn't sitting right. It's when your brain is working overtime to process something that's troubling. But the biggest tell that we had right here, this rose petal murderer, is his tongue protrusion. Tongue protrusion is the oops reflex. It's this crazy, wild thing that we see when people stick their tongues out subtly. Hughes sticks his tongue out slightly many times during some of the most intense moments in his testimony. Why do we do this? Well, it's called the oops reflex. It's an automatic response tied to stress, discomfort, or a moment of internal conflict. It happens when our brain subconsciously signals,
Oops, this is tough to talk about.
It's called a high-level pacifier. For Hughes, it happens exactly when he's reliving the hardest parts of his story, including trying to knock her out and then eventually killing her. It's not deception, it's discomfort. Now, people could be lying. They could be lying in those moments because it's a high-level stress, but we don't know what. All right, here's a new rule. Sigh before answering. Don't interrupt. If someone's sighing before answering, something big's going to come emotional. Don't interrupt them. No sniffle under stress. Yeah, they're feeling pressure even if they're not showing it. These furrowed brows, if they make an appearance, their brain is rejecting something. So pay attention. And tongue protrusions. Their tongue sticks out through their lips. It's something is making them deeply uncomfortable. When you start seeing all these babies, guess what? You're never going to be able to unsee them. You're never going to be able to unsee them. As an added bonus, I thought we would talk about the 4 types of sighs. There's the slow, deep sigh. This is someone processing something major. This is what we're seeing here in this case. Then there's the sharp sigh with the eye roll. And someone rolls their eyes. Yeah, you guessed it. Peak annoyance. There's the multiple sighs in a row. That's that anxiety. Well, all right, dirty birds. Okay, the dirty people, rope it in. This is major anxiety creeping in. And then there's the sigh before someone answers the question. Oh, something emotional is up. Something emotional is up. And we're seeing that with this case with our killer here, Zachary. All right, my friends, that's your 9-minute brain hacks to make you a badass with me, Janine Driver, here in the driver's seat, where I break down cases like this on Court TV with Vinnie Politan every week or two, and then I come here and give you the behind the scenes. If you want to see me live, head on over to courttv.com. I'll be there analyzing real cases in real time every couple of weeks. And if this episode blew your mind, be sure to share it with a friend or someone that's a crime junkie or wants to know about human behavior, because once you start seeing this stuff, you're never going to unsee it. Again, I'm Janine Driver, and guess what? Now you're officially in the driver's seat. Go be a badass, bitches. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to In the Driver's Seat with Janine Driver. Use these insights to make your life easier and relationships stronger. Remember, you matter and belong, and you're not alone on this journey. If this is your first time in the driver's seat, Janine would like to give you a free gift. You're invited as her guest to join her live weekly online class to master the new body language so you can boost your relationships. Sign up now at www.janinedriver.com. That's janinedriver.com. Until next time, keep driving forward. Bye now.
I hope you learned some cool shit today to make your life easier and grow your relationships. And if you happen to be inspired to look at your world differently, I'm wondering if you'll recommend my show In the Driver's Seat with me, Janine Driver, to some of your friends, because that's exclusively how this show is growing. Thanks to you and people just like you, but only if you like the show. Sound good?